Hi all. So the intention for this afternoon is to have a live session. This is more of a safety net in case we run into tech issues this afternoon. So this won't be a full lesson. This will be just a very quick overview of what we are going to be looking at this afternoon. And if the live session doesn't work, then at least this will give you an idea. So we're looking at quartiles and interquartile range. Now this is a new measure of spread, different from the four that you've looked up until now. So we've looked at mean, median, mode, and range. You know what all of those are. The PowerPoint that has been provided on eLearn is asking for you to link them. Please do so in your notes. So what we're looking at for this week is quartiles and quartile spread. So what happens with a median? Okay, so and I'll give you this link as well in the same email I send the YouTube link. So when you have a median, the median is the middle number. So when you find the median, you are splitting the data directly down the middle. So you're splitting it into two halves. With quartiles, what you're doing is you are cutting your data into four equal parts. So essentially what you're doing is you're finding the median of your whole data, which in this case of the case of this data, 2, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The median is 5. So that's your median. Then what you need to do, you have 2, 4, 4, and half of 5. You then find, okay, the median of this this half of the data is 4. So therefore, you have your first quartile being 4. So the first quartile is the median of the first half of the data. Your second quartile is the median of the whole data. And the third quartile is the median of the second half of the data. Okay? So the median in this case is 5. The first quartile, which is the median of the first half of the data, is 4. And the median of the second half of the data, which is the third quartile, is 7. So you have quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. Now, this seems a bit of a waste of time, but what we need to do is we need to consider what we are doing if we consider the interquartile range, which is the range of just these two quartiles. This is first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, fourth quartile. So if we look at just the range of this is the middle 50% of the data. So if we only look at this, this will be the majority of the center part of the data, and any outliers that we might have, say for example, instead of 8 we have 580, and instead of 2 we have negative 58 or whatever. The interquartile range does not get influenced by outliers, and that's the important part of it. Okay, so it's a measure of spread which is not affected by outliers. That's the important thing. So if the cut is between two numbers, the quartile is the average of the two numbers, exactly the same as in the median. Okay, so here the median is halfway between 5 and 6, so it's 5.5. Okay, so that's the same thing that we do for the median. So the interquartile range is the middle 50% of the data. So it's the range is the biggest number minus the smallest number. So in the case of this data here that we started with, it would be 8 minus 2, which is 6. However, the interquartile range is the third quartile, which is 7, minus the first quartile, which is 4. So 7 minus 4 is 3. So our range is 6, but our interquartile range is 3. Going back to my comment before, if instead of 8 we had 508, be 508 minus 2, which would be 506. So the range would be 506, but the interquartile range would still be 3. And that's an example of why we use the interquartile range. It is not affected by outliers. So next week we're going to be looking at box and whisker plots, but we may as well touch on it now. So with a box and whisker plot, you have used them before, but this is you've interpreted them, but this will be when you make them. So we have the range. The range is 2 and 8. So the highest value is 8, the lowest value is 2. Same data that we did up here. The median is 5. The first quartile is 4, and the third quartile is 3. So we can see here that this 2 is a bit of an outlier. The majority of the data is up here, and this is much better than just giving just the range or just giving the median. This gives us a much better idea of the data. And here's an example here. I will ask you to put this down into your notes because this is a really good example. So a bunch of data, put them in order, cut the order into quarters. In this case, there are 12 numbers, so quarters works quite nicely. First quartile is 4, halfway between 4 and 4. Second quartile is 10.5, it's halfway between 10 and 11. Third quartile is 15, it's halfway between 14 and 16. And this is where we get our box and whisker plot here. Okay? So, what I would like you to do, assuming that we don't get the live session up and running, is hop onto this link and do question 1 to 10. Okay? And just have a go at them, and that should put you in good stead for the content that we're doing in the first couple of weeks.